Welcome to the main event. In the left corner, weighing in at 110 pounds, Veronica Mars. And in the right corner, weighing in at 160 pounds, Keith Mars. Let's get ready to rumble! To Life on Mars, the Veronica Mars rewatch podcast, where we recap each episode by episode.
This episode was titled Mars v. Mars.
Yes. And Mars upon Lars. I'm your host, Brenton.
And I'm Emily.
And yeah, Mars versus Mars. A very fun episode, in my opinion.
It's one of my favorites for Logan. Not like because of what happens, but like for his relationship with Veronica.
Yeah, this is where everything starts to shift. Oh.
Uh-huh. We have a furry guest here.
Mm-hmm.
He's got opinions.
Opinions, man.
He's having a rough day since it's been raining.
Yeah. Should we pose?
Yeah, we should pose.
All right, we back. And
now that everyone's eaten and pooped.
exactly, yep. The two main important things that we all need to do, eat and poop, and not hoard toilet paper.
Yeah. You know what I was thinking about a lot?
What?
Baby wipes.
What about them?
Do you think they're going as quickly as toilet paper?
Oh, definitely not.
Well, if anyone needs some suggestions for what to do about your butt when we run out of toilet paper soon, might I suggest baby wipes? Or I saw someone posted on Amazon, this is totally tangential, about a $72 bidet attachment that you just attach to your toilet.
That was going to be my question, is like, how expensive are bidets?
They're not very expensive. Do you want a bidet?
I've never used a bidet, and they seem scary.
I mean, don't.
How clean?
Oh, well, I think you're still supposed to like pat it down. It's just like it does most of the cleaning.
Really? You still have to wipe though?
I think you pat.
You pat.
You blot.
You still have to get a piece of toilet paper.
I don't know. Or maybe you have a bidet towel.
Okay.
One time I watched this
towel.
show back before everything was super sustainable. Because, for example, we don't use paper towels. We have reusable paper towels that are just basically rags.
Mm-hmm.
But we bought them under the guise of reusable towels. But I saw this family on like TLC or, like one of those like channels that was doing like an off the grid, completely eco-friendly, like sustain, grow their own food, don't have any zero waste family before it was cool. And they didn't have toilet paper. They just had like these specific rags they used that they put in this one specific trash can that then they washed.
My God.
And that stuck with me because like
Yeah.
I want to be zero waste, but like
that's a smelly can. Like that's rough. I was assuming that they were like scooting out in the yard.
You see me scooting across the front yard. I don't know why.
Exactly. Yep, you and Herman are racing.
No, but I did post on my my coaching Instagram a picture of Herman pooping under a bush just to remind everyone of how we can poop if we need to.
Oh yeah, just hide.
Hide under the bush?
Mm-hmm. Or like baby me, who when he was potty training and had a diaper would hide behind the couch to poop. You can go do that depending on if you have like enough room and your family members won't notice.
Yeah. Every time your mom told that story, I thought you pooped on the floor like a dog.
Nope. I had my diaper. I have one distinct memory of being a child, like behind a couch and like pooping in my diaper, and like my mom being like, "Oh no, get out of there."
I wish I could remember wearing a diaper.
That's the only time I remember doing that.
I wonder how old you were when you potty trained.
I don't know, 5, 6.
14.
Yeah, exactly.
What is that Bob's Burgers joke?
Yeah.
Roughest 9 years of my life.
Yeah, age 7 to 14.
No, I took off my poopy diaper and smeared poop all over my my playpen as a child because you can't cage the Emily.
That's my favorite story.
I was not going to be caged.
I know. It's just such a horror story for a parent to be like, oh, God.
But just like imagine baby me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not good.
That was sass.
All sass. Because it's me without the filter that I have acquired over all these years.
And just furrowed brow. The mean face.
I used to make this little like nose crinkly snotty face instead.
It's really cute.
I also was too smart for my own good.
I'm sure.
I don't think.
Learned to that if you smeared poop on the playpen.
Yeah.
You learned
I got street smarts.
yeah, I was gonna say civil disobedience.
Literally, my Aquarius is showing.
Yep. And it smells.
Well,
Just kidding.
speaking of civil disobedience and annoying your parents, Veronica and Keith, that's kind of the whole theme of this episode.
Totally. Veronica having to learn a harsh lesson.
If you smear poop on your playpen,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you're wrong.
Yeah, and trusting adults and teachers.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not trusting a father, but, trusting an authority figure in our life.
Yeah. Men are usually bad.
Mm-hmm. And that Adam Scott, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him, and not very far.
For a very long time, I was like kind of attracted to Adam Scott, and I was like, oh no, I just like small men with big heads.
Present.
I know. It's like, maybe she does have a type.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
That's not true.
I'm glad to be lumped together with Adam Scott.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like outside of you and Adam Scott, people that I actually dated, it's a wide gambit.
Well, he's a handsome man.
He's a handsome man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's charismatic too.
Mm-hmm.
Very good in this episode.
There's things you need to tell me something about Adam Scott. No tea, no shade.
No, yeah.
But okay, so we're still
Extremely
at the
good.
very beginning, right?
Yeah, we have not even begun.
So Logan shows up at Veronica's door. That's how we ended The Last of Us.
Seamless transition from the recap to scene.
I just love Logan.
No cut.
No cut. But he's cut. I guess is he still playing a minor at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, the actual guy is like in his 20s.
Right.
And it stands out very clearly in the scene where they have the freshman way later.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like, oh, this kid's actually 15 or 16.
It's like, oh, he's acting against like a 23-year-old.
Yeah, and everyone else is like full grown adults.
Uh-huh.
So Logan's like, I need you to look for my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And Veronica's like, dude, she jumped off a bridge.
Right.
But she agrees because she empathizes because her mother left. And I mean, it's always a chance.
Totally. Just like he says, you don't jump off the bridge with your platinum card.
No. You don't jump off the bridge with your platinum card.
Not usually.
No, I don't usually jump off anything. And so then we cut scene to Mr. Rooks' classroom, a.k.a. Adam Scott, where these kids are allowed to beat the desk and yell, ooga.
Yeah, I know. This is a very complicated game that they have for what seems to be Family Feud, but for history.
We used to play Jeopardy in our
Same.
AP US history class.
I don't know if it was I think my AP U.S. history was, I didn't have, actually, back up, I didn't take AP U.S. history.
You didn't take A-Push?
No, I don't think I took A-Push. Did you take that your senior year?
I think it was my junior year.
Then what was senior year? Was it AP
Government?
AP Government. Okay, so I did take AP U.S. history.
Yeah, it's...
That was a great class.
Yeah. And because you basically learn how to take the test all year and how to write this very specific type of essay.
And we were responsible for taking notes on chapters, but like if you did well enough in the class, then you didn't really care like how engaged you were. So like sometimes I'd take naps, which is really nice. And my friend and I would collaborate on notes. It's pretty great.
You met my AP US history teacher at
I did.
Katie's
He was
wedding.
very nice.
Yeah, I mean, amongst many things, he ran the club that nominated me for prom queen.
Nice.
Gotta love academic decathlon.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he set us up with Jeopardy.
I like it. Yeah. But this is everybody's banging the tables, and
mine was just like, Emily, what's the answer?
It's team leaders.
Emily, do you know the answer?
I know these kids are very engaged, but he's just such a good teacher, this Mr. Rooks.
I do have a question for the writers, though.
Mm-hmm.
So he calls on Wallace.
Yeah.
Which is rude.
Yes.
It's discriminatory. Wallace is the only black kid in that class.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's like, ooh, who's the weakest link? And it's like...
That's rude. Don't get in their heads.
Yeah, exactly. But exactly. And I'm like, at the same time, it's like, you are on a fool's errand if you think Wallace is going to fuck this up.
But then Wallace answers. And of course, his answer, one of the options is about slave. It's like the answer is slave labor.
Yeah.
Because it's the Industrial Revolution, right? Or no?
No,
That's the name of their team.
It was exactly, and it was like about the fall of the Roman civilization or something like
the
that.
fall of something. For some reason I thought it was like something more current, but maybe it was Roman.
There was the guy answered something about barbarians.
Oh, okay.
So-
Well, and so of course Wallace is the one who has to handle the sensitive topic of talking about anything that has to do with slavery or discrimination. And I was just like, why are we making the protected class have to defend the protected class? In theory, Veronica should be answering that question and defending her friends.
Totally. But no, Mr. Rooks, he doesn't get this, right? He can engage the kids on a certain level, but
The writer's room doesn't get it.
yes, that too.
Mr. Rooks is just a pervert.
Yeah, well,
Just a pervert.
Yeah. Think we just need to all get past this one. Yeah, he's a pervert.
And then we meet Leighton Meester, who's Blair Waldorf in Gossip Girl.
Yeah, the first thing that came to my head was like, How to Get Away with Murder. Never seen it once.
Which is actually another Kristen Bell show where she does the entire voiceover for a character that in the end you find out is a man.
XOXO.
Gossip Girl.
Gossip Man.
When I leave my full-time job to pursue my business as full-time, that's how I'm sending my last email. XOXO. Gossip Girl. She'll just be
Gossip M.
Emily. But
Who am I? I'll never tell.
exactly. I'll send it from every inbox I have access to that doesn't have my name on it, but everyone knows it's mine because there's like 50 people in our office.
I'm like, can you stop?
Yeah. We
revoked her access, right?
She's an admin on the account somehow, and she keeps getting back in. But I was like, oh, I think these overlapped on timeline.
Yeah.
So she was doing the voiceover for this during Gossip Girl, which I need to finish. If we get put on a full lockdown and like don't get to work anymore, I'm watching Gossip Girl.
Yeah, power to you.
Because I can't get past. I started season 2.
No, this was once the third season of Veronica Mars was already over. Oh. So 2007 is the first. Jesus Christ. September 2007 is the air date for Gossip Girl.
So it's purely coincidental that these two ended up.
Unless
Gossip Girl was
agent.
on when I was in high school. That makes sense. It started like because people would talk about it. I didn't watch it, obviously. I was a dance class. But yeah, so Leighton Meester, who plays a character Carrie, is like, he calls on her for something, and she's like, well, you can stop dodging my calls. I'm not pregnant.
Right.
And it's like,
and here's your key. Gives him his key.
Yeah.
And he's like,
Like, what the fuck? And Veronica's like, no, it couldn't be him. I shall stop and talk to him after class, even though this girl in my class just accused him of being a rapist.
Right.
Or at least a sexual predator.
Yes.
He's not actually a rapist. I believe it was consensual.
Yes. Just a predator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we learn later that there's a lot of bad blood between them. So she, this is a teacher she really likes. So there's like she's not going to take her side because Veronica, as we know her, is stubborn.
I just have to correct myself because it is statutory rape because they're underage.
You're right.
I was like, it is rape. Let me circle back around. Wrong.
Clear it up.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big no-no.
Total. Yeah.
It's a major no-no. We don't like that. We're not okay with it. We don't support it.
Right.
But then, yeah, Veronica is often the protagonist or the antagonist of girl on girl hate crimes, unfortunately.
The perpetrator.
I'm assuming most of her character was written by men and or women that are stuck working in a room with a bunch of men.
Yeah, probably. And it's like, oh, but Veronica will learn that she can trust other women.
So while that's going on, Veronica's like, hey, Logan. Well, Logan's actually like, hey, Veronica.
Right. Let's get this going.
Let's get this going. And then she's like, ooh, there was some activity on your mom's credit card.
No, that's not. That's at the end.
have it super early in my notes.
That there was no. She's saying
She says,
I will
I'll
watch
look
for.
into your credit cards.
Yeah.
I just put Logan, mom's credit card.
Comprehensive, detailed.
And so then Veronica goes home and her dad's looking into I like how this is basically a quiz for me. I'm like, let me retell you the story and see if I remember.
Does she, and before she goes home, she confronts
Leighton Meester.
Yeah, what's her name?
Carrie.
Thank you. And before that, she's getting extensively bullied to a synchronized song by everybody else because, she's a slut, quote unquote.
Carrie.
Carrie, not Veronica.
Yeah, I was like,
And Carrie's like, you don't know what you're doing kind of thing.
Exactly. She's like, Veronica, why don't you stay out of this? Like, maybe you don't know what you're doing.
Right. And then Veronica sends Wallace to the file room to get some background info on Carrie. Yeah. Oh my God. Keep it together.
Carrie, like Carrie Bradshaw.
Carrie Fisher?
Carrie Fisher. Or Carrie from the movie Carrie.
Yep. My favorite. I prefer the remake.
Oh God.
I haven't seen either.
I was like, oh no, we gotta go. I don't do horror. But then Veronica comes home and she finds out her dad's looking into the teacher, Mr. Rooks.
Mr. Rooks.
And Veronica's like, Dad, you're wrong.
And he's like, don't be blinded by this.
But like, also, like if you truly believe this, I'm not going to tell you not to, which I respect.
Yeah.
It would be really hard if you thought someone was a predator to then let your child continue to help them.
Yeah. Just a little conflicting.
I mean, I don't want to say it's negligent parenting. I just want to say that, like,
there's trust and then
there's a fine line between
right.
a child endangerment and trust. And he's not on either side, but he's walking it.
Exactly. Like, oh God. Like, I don't know, man. That's a no. Yeah, that's a no for me, dog.
What is interesting about this episode is Veronica wears a lot brighter of colors for most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that?
That's true.
She's wearing a lot of like purples and pinks and bright colors instead of black and camo.
Right. Less darker colors.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know if that means it's like a turn in something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
carrying yourself with more confidence or something.
Mm-hmm. But so then Logan and Veronica start sleuthing together,
which
is great because like Logan can't sleuth.
Mm-mm.
Logan is not a sleuth.
Yeah, he's bull in a china shop.
He is.
And then Veronica gets to show him the ropes kind of on PI.
And the gadgets.
Yeah, exactly. So is this where they do the gadgets in the police station?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And while they're doing it, Veronica sees
Leo.
Mm-hmm.
Leo.
Ao?
Mm-hmm.
We say Deo.
Deo.
Who is one of my favorite characters, I think.
He's very fun.
I love him.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was more with him and Veronica.
Right.
As the series goes on and when we get towards the end.
Yeah. So it seems like he's looking for another suspension. Is there really no policy against this?
Yeah. Isn't she a minor?
Right.
But I guess it depends.
I know they're probably closer in age.
Because he's 20. He's not 21.
Right.
So in theory, she could still take him to prom. That's like the big thing I remember in my town was you couldn't bring anyone over 21 as your date.
Yeah, there you go.
But 20, fine.
Yeah. He can't buy you alcohol. That's probably the big part.
That's exactly what it is.
Very smart.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get breathalyzed on your way in?
I didn't.
Oh. All of us had to.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
I'm totally fine going. This is fine.
You have to think that, like, who was security and chaperoning my prom is my cousin's sister-in-law, who has known me since I was a child, and I babysat their child. She taught my AP Psych class. Like, these are people who know me. Mm-hmm. Like, the whole town knows everyone. Right. It's not.
So they covered for your drinking.
Exactly. So they brought me the booze. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
No one. I did not drink at any of my proms. You know what I remember, or formals? You know what I remember thinking when I left my senior formal?
What?
The music was too loud.
Oy.
Like I went with Erin Gilmartin, my friend, and we danced in the front and like hung out with our friends the whole time. And then I went home and I was like, my ears are ringing, like my head hurts, like the music was way too loud.
Some things never change.
And now I wear earplugs to concerts. I should have done it then. Jim said eventually, my stepfather, eventually you'll get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't want to go deaf. And then he yelled, "What?" from the other room.
That seems about right.
Case in point.
Yep.
Non-ironically.
Just because I know your stepdad, I assumed that was a joke, but that's even better.
Oh, no. He went to go do something and couldn't hear me. The exact phrase is, I don't speak Portuguese, because he's decided that only Portuguese women yell through walls.
I could verify that.
Do you?
Not only.
I was trying to think of like anyone else in my friends that do it, and it's Z who is Portuguese.
I will say your stepdad has adapted very well. When we were visiting, I think it was last time, and
he does it all the time.
Your mom and him having their conversation while he was in the kitchen. I'm like, yeah, he's pretty good at this. Like, I can't do it if Emily steps out of the room.
At their house, you can.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Those walls are so fucking thin.
I could see it.
But anyway, so Veronica's like, Leo, I'm sorry. I used you because I'm sad about my friend dying, and my one life mission is to figure out who killed her. Here's all this creepy stuff I know that no one knows. But then I fell for you.
Yeah, and he's like, you fell for me?
Yeah. Well.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
And then
just when he thought he was out, pulls him back in.
Exactly.
But we did miss that when they do the
sleuthing.
Yeah, the sleuthing with secret microphones. They get Cliff. Name game.
Potato, tomato.
Oh boy, they get
hot dogs.
Yeah.
Potato
hot dog. Is this Zip Zap Zop? Is that what we're playing?
Well, I was thinking like a country potato roll, and then when I had said tomato, I was thinking ketchup, and so then my brain went to hot dog.
So it's an improv game, essentially.
There's no rules.
Yeah, okay.
Just like Whose Line.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Life.
Isn't that Zip Zap Zop, though? That it's like you say the first thing that comes to your head when someone says something else?
I think so.
Yeah, cool. So, Cliff, I was like, oh, they should get Cliff in more on their schemes. And he's like, yeah, like, I'm the... Just petered out. I really enjoyed him being part of the scheme.
Yeah, I love Cliff, and because he's always just like, you owe me, kid.
Mm-hmm. Man, he's never going to collect on that.
Nobody does sometimes. When the dad's busy, he's like, hey, V.
Yep. Time for you to do something for me.
But no, he doesn't care. And then Logan hears things he doesn't like, and he tries to beat up the woman who had said rumors about seeing his mom.
Yep. He's like, mean thing.
Because Logan is violent.
Yes.
And it is toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And problematic.
Yeah, but boy, just want to fix him, you know?
I just like when he comes back in his navy whites later. That's the movie, right?
Yep. He's just standing on the corner with his hat in his hand like he's coming from JAG. Is he part of JAG? I think he's in JAG. Do you know what JAG is?
No.
They're like the attorneys for, I think, the Navy.
Oh.
Yeah. So there's a procedural called JAG.
Oh, is that the one we talked about in your one theory? Your one conspiracy theory about Tommy...
Oh,
was it Tommy Bahama?
Tommy Bahama. It wasn't Jag. Jag was in like 90s. Like we would watch Jag with my grandma, and then we would watch Diagnosis Murder and Murder, She Wrote. So it was like Jag was on at like 4 or 5, and then you'd get into the reruns of Murder, She Wrote
and Diagnosis
Murder late at night after dinner.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great.
Grandmama has great taste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She and I have a lot in common.
Yeah, it was great. They had they had the good movies there too. Like Land Before Time 2 was at Grandma's house. I watched that a lot.
What about 1 through like 17? There's so many of those.
Yeah, that was the kid down the street from me.
I was that kid. Imagine that.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Okay, so Logan tries to fight the lady because she's spreading rumors about his mom.
Yeah.
That aren't true. Because she just, wants some attention. And so then Veronica's like, you can't do that. Stop it.
Yep.
Talks to Leo. Is like, hey babies. I know I'm a minor, but like, watch me walk away.
And
hate
to see you leave.
For visual effect, he closed his eyes when he did that.
He kind of like has like a squinty look. I don't know.
He's smizing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely smizing.
And then, is this when she goes over to the teacher's house?
Yes.
So then she goes over to Mr. Rooks' house.
Absolutely inscrutable. Sorry. Continue.
No, carry on. Why? What's so great about Mr. Rooks' house?
Yeah, so his daughter's driving a remote control boat in the pool, and he's like, "Oh, hey, like, why don't you go like do your coloring while I talk to like my student?" And she's like, "Okay," and she just goes behind a gate that's still in the backyard. And it's like she can still hear you. What is she? How can she not hear you now that she's like 2 feet away?
But they have like an off the side of the pool gate with a table.
Yeah, it looked like a little like baby gate almost.
Yeah,
it was very odd.
I don't really understand.
And
she's playing with her remote control boat in the pool, which is the fucking coolest.
I know. Let her do that.
Made me think of the time we went to Golden Gate Park and we walked around so I could watch all the guys with their boats.
I know. That was pretty good. Stuart Little.
What
That does seem like a nice like
hobby.
Activity. Yeah.
We should get into that.
I know,
It's expensive. I looked.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be cool. You just get a nice boat and you just go out to Golden Gate Park, drive it around. And you don't have to be on an actual boat. You're in the sun.
Yeah. I like it.
We can get one for the tub while we're self-isolating.
We start buying tub toys? Why don't we have tub toys?
I don't know. Why don't we have tub toys? It's not like we don't use the tub.
Brendan, would you like to share with the crowd how old you are? Just kidding.
I'll be 28 in June.
I'm just kidding.
Men have tub toys too.
What kind of toys do you want? Like a rubber ducky or like water Barbie or like
I'd take
blocks?
a rubber ducky, probably some ships. Not to see what else is on the market.
You were so serious about that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably some ships.
Yeah, probably some ships.
I remember having the ship that
I want
had
a fleet.
the little wheel thing, like how they're like powered by the water going through them.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like a
what are
pedal
those
boat,
called?
but not. It's like a aqua pedal boat.
What are they called? It's like it makes me think of like Mark Twain.
Exactly. Well, it's the boat you take around Mark Twain Island.
Exactly.
But anyway, so she gets locked behind the gate like a dog.
I put coloring as apparently an outside activity.
Did you never color outside?
No, it was just because it's like, why don't you go do your coloring? So I was assuming she was going to be like, go inside. It's like, oh no, she's just behind the baby gate and she's going to color.
He didn't want her to fall in.
While he like talks to Veronica 2 feet away from her.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't
Kids,
get her.
they're wily.
Exactly. Well, she had all those rocks in her pocket.
And all I wrote down for this one is, I want a boat for the pool. In all caps.
Yeah, me too.
And then when she was like, is anyone representing you at the hearing? He was like, yeah, the faculty union rep, which is me.
Yep.
And I was like, no, a union representative should also be attending.
But yeah, it was just like this part, because we've seen this before and I knew the end. It's just like, oh, because he knows like they're not going to believe her.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets lucky that Veronica helps him in the end, but he totally believes that he's going to get off with this scot-free because he didn't actually
hurt her.
Exactly.
Her
Mm-hmm. Specifically. Yeah.
And then Veronica goes home and her dad's making her pity dinner, right?
Yes.
Which is lasagna with extra cheese.
Yes. And she was saying that she was down at the hedonism lodge with Kid Rock.
Which I love.
Mm-hmm. And especially that he's like, and don't listen to Kid Rock at the end of this. Because he found that the dates and times in the diary of Carrie matched credit card statements for Mr. Rooks. And It was about like their affair at a hotel after she won the extemporaneous speaking competition.
Yes, exactly. Which is quite a mouthful to begin with.
It really is. I know. Do you think that was like speech and debate, or what is extemporaneous speaking?
I don't know.
Speaking from the heart.
That's what I do.
Yep. I always do it. I walk up to give my speech and I take a pause and I go, you know what? I'm just going to speak from the heart, and I rip my paper in half.
I was about to take a sip of water. Okay.
Okay, good. Swallowed.
Made it.
Yeah. Whew. And then she's just like, that doesn't prove anything. Carrie's going down. Yeah. Bang the gavel, Judge. This one's done. But no, she doesn't. She only has circumstantial evidence.
And then we go back to Veronica working to figure out what happened to Logan's mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this woman calls in a tip, or had reported in a kind of like a Esquire magazine.
Exactly. I think the Inquisitor.
Esquire.
Mm-hmm. You mean
Inquire?
Yeah.
No.
Esquire. Publication's gone downhill.
No, but that's Esquire. Yeah, so she meets up with this woman who seems like she's gonna be normal.
Mm-hmm.
And then she pulls out the scrapbook she has of every time she's seen Lynn or like any famous person in general, and then like the van from something is there.
Yeah, Pursuit of Happiness, and I was just like, wait a minute, and I checked. The Will Smith movie comes out 2 years later after this, like, which was aired. So she's talking about some sort of in-universe movie called Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh, interesting. It must
Yeah.
be like an Aaron Eccles film.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, unless I have that wrong, because I was just like, wait a minute, that can't be right. Like, this is super weird.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, The Pursuit of Happiness came out in 2006. So, yeah, I think they just weird timing with that kind of stuff, you know. And then Logan walks away, and she's like, you know, I would be pissed too, like, you know, if this was happening to me, pretty much.
Yes.
And then he leaves as Weagle walks in, and he's just like, whoa, watch where you're going. And he's just like, what happened? Did he lose a puka shell?
Which was the best part of the whole show. I wrote that down too.
Oh, that's amazing. Because, yeah, the amount of puka shells that he wears is off the charts. It's every scene.
Yes, he was keeping the puka business in business.
I had puka shells.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I was like 12.
My cousin,
I think I wore it for a little bit, but I didn't. It was like when I experimented with hats. It didn't last long.
Oh, I love hats. My cousin Andy, when he went to Hawaii, I think, I don't know if it was when he got married to Karina, or I think it was before that, but he was already dating her. I don't know. But they got me this really pretty like puka shell necklace that also had like a big hibiscus on it.
Ooh.
So it was like, you know,
That's
like
cool.
more than just a puka shell, but I remember thinking it was quite fun.
Mm-hmm. It was a thing.
Yeah, it was really a thing.
Yeah. I mean, I probably looked similar to Logan at some point.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
You look 26.
Looked like his brother, Luke. Or John. Matthew Mark. And then Veronica's back trying to get into the safe. Whew. To learn more about the case. And the keys changed the locks. And it's like, takes a smart man to realize, like, to make a combination based on meaningless numbers. It's like, that'd be really hard.
Yeah.
I feel like I would always find a connection.
Yeah, I would make a connection.
Mm-hmm. Are numbers ever meaningless?
Everything has meaning.
Exactly.
It's all got meaning.
We're all in this together is what popped into my mind.
Oh.
But he booby traps the lockbox.
Yes.
She tries to get at it.
So then it spits ink at her.
And I said, it's truly spy versus spy. Do you remember that? Spy versus spy?
No.
Do you ever watch Mad TV?
No.
You ever read Mad Magazine?
No.
Okay. Well, it was like these two. One was a white spy and one was black. And they were just these two little cartoon characters. And they would like try and outwit each other. And it was like, Wile E. Coyote kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I put spy versus spy.
Love it.
Yep. That was worth the tangent.
I love it.
And he's like, oh, like, then Keith makes fun of her.
Mm-hmm. He's like all blue in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get Veronica confronting Carrie.
I know, it doesn't stick in your brain. It's really hard.
And she goes up to her in the hallway and she's like, yo, girl, like, why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm. What you gonna get out of this?
And Carrie's like, you don't believe me, that's fine, but like, here are all these very specific details.
Mm-hmm.
His black silk sheets. He likes to play this side of whatever album. Very, very specific, which I'm like, that means that the girl that this actually was has a really impressive memory.
Yes, and took extensive diary notes.
Yeah.
Because she copied them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Veronica's like, well, I know that you were at a track meet, running super fast and winning races.
Yes. And that's the moment where you're like, okay, this is waffling, but how is it waffling?
Exactly. Off kilter. Do we get the flashback here also when Veronica's in the bathroom stall?
Yes.
And they're talking shit. And
Yes.
it's like, yeah, I can't believe it, like Duncan like staying with her. And we get some reference to Duncan's mental health.
Yes, because Carrie's brother-in-law works at the hospital and they saw him come in or something.
Right. He had to be taken down by like 3 orderlies or something.
And he just kept yelling Veronica's name.
Yeah. Oh, that is the C plot of this episode. Is that Veronica's trying to figure out what's wrong with Duncan, why he's taking medication.
Nothing's wrong with Duncan. Some people's brains just have trouble producing specific hormones.
Right. But she's like, what's he taking? Well, so in the next scene, she goes to the doctor, his doctor, who's very expensive. And it's like, yeah, we have insurance. And then Duncan's like, right. Like, oh, okay, I forgot you poor people get insurance too. Right? I didn't know what the look was.
It was very strange.
Yeah, he was kind of like, uh-huh. Like, does this doctor not take insurance?
Yeah.
It was very confusing. And so then she hides out in the bathroom until the office closes. And it's like, was she the last appointment of the day? How long was she in that cubby?
Yeah. Well, and so every time Veronica hides or like sleuths, they use that green filter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it. I
Right.
get it.
And she talks about how petite she is.
Yeah. She's like, oh, I'm small.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, me too. I'm not going to hide in a bathroom cabinet. If you ever find me in the bathroom cabinet.
I'm sleuthing. It's okay. Just lock up for the day.
Oh, you need toilet paper here.
Yeah. We're out. And she gets the file and finds that Abel Koontz goes to the same doctor. And I'm like, I understand that she's like trying to make a connection there. And she's like, going to the same doctor. It's like, yeah, he worked for the company. Like, I'm sure it was like same sort of like insurance company, and people were like, yeah, we're gonna go to this really expensive doctor that everybody makes a big deal about.
Yeah. Or like,
They were all millionaires.
we don't need insurance. We want the best care.
That's true.
It's out of network.
Uh-huh. Now that Kane Software has lifted all ships and even the secretary became a millionaire. Never forget.
I don't want to be a millionaire. What would you do if you had $1 million?
If I had $1 million, outside of just like the paying off debts kind of thing.
Well, I mean, that counts too.
Yeah, I'd pay off my debt. then, I mean, I'd probably want to get a home, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then invest, I guess. But I don't know. What would you do?
Pay off my student loans. Pay off any of your debt.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Throw me some pennies.
Throw you some pennies and I'd be like, stop spending so much money. Just kidding. And then I would probably invest a certain amount into just like saving where it's like gaining interest. Potentially
Right.
not like stocks or anything, just because like I personally don't like that world.
Yeah,
think
it's not been great.
It's essential, I guess, but like I'm not a fan of it.
No.
And then I would
But you could just you could instead set up something aside for like retirement kind of thing.
I'd do my business full time until I got up and running, and then I'd start one of the 2 charities I want to start.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd probably be good.
We'd
Like,
buy the
quit
farm
job.
for the dogs.
The farm. Do you want to tell about the farm?
Yeah, so one of my life goals is that when we have the money, we're going to buy a house that's just like got a lot of extra space on it, basically like a farm. And we're going to take in any and all old rescue dogs who need a home.
Mm-hmm.
You on death row, you come home to me. You too old and people surrendered you, you come to me. Doggy death row. Is that what you're picturing?
Yes, I'm imagining a bunch of convict dogs.
Oh, you chased too many squirrels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so they say. Circumstantial evidence, but he's still there.
He was caught red pod.
Red-nosed.
No. But then we'll call it the farm up north. That's where all the old dogs will go. Yeah.
Be a real place. I like it. Yeah, and then she gets caught by the last person, but she pretends like the doctor never like came and saw her. So I'm like, I guess that's a good way to pretend, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I
They would
mean,
really lock up?
I mean, he really didn't say anything to her.
No, Then we get the school board trial with Edie Falco as the judge.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah,
And,
from The Sopranos.
Then we get Veronica helping Mr. Rooks on how to prove that anyone could plant false text messages and kind of defend his whole thing.
Totally. Which she's, again, not wrong. These are false text messages on Carrie's phone. Or wait, or do you think she just has Susan's phone? That'd make more sense.
I think she just has Susan's phone.
Yeah. Sweetnies. Be a weird nickname.
I was like, why?
Because that's what it was signed SK, and she's like, oh, because he called me Sweetnies.
Oh, yeah.
That's why.
Got it.
Yeah.
Where's the
By using the vice principal's phone and saying that vice principals make the best lovers.
Yes. That poor vice principal gets dragged into everything.
Yep. But hey, it's all worth it when he becomes principal. I can't remember, there's one episode where that happens.
Poor man. And then in the end, Veronica, they just leave that, right? She goes to his house first before.
Yeah, so she proves that for him, and then he gets off. And it's like, yeah, everything's going to be okay. And then the next scene is her stopping by the house. And he's like, hey, I've got like, I'm swimming in pizza here. I ordered 2 pizzas for myself. What a psychopath.
There was a buy one, get one deal, I thought is what it was.
Oh, yeah. Wink. Uh-huh. Why don't you come in and have a sliced pizza, baby? And then Mick Jagger's playing, or Rolling Stones, whatever. I forget which album.
I think it's Rolling Stones.
Yeah, but which Rolling Stones album?
Oh.
And then walks by the bed, and there's black silk sheets. Black silk sheets.
He really struggles today.
Yeah, it's really hard to speak extemporaneously.
I know. You're having a hard time.
Yeah, I really fell flat that competition.
And then she's like, gotta go.
Yep, getting out of here. Eat. Reverse.
And so she...
Fudged up.
How does she figure out that it's the friend?
So she, I have that.
Oh, she talks to Duncan.
Yeah, and then she asks for I think who won the extemporaneous speaking competition.
Yes.
And then she tracks that down, and then goes and tracks down Susan, because calls around for her number and then finds where her address is. Because I'm assuming she dropped out, and people I'm assuming there was rumors about her, just how high school is.
Her parents disowned her, remember?
Yeah,
so
right.
She moved.
Mm-hmm.
She had a house, though.
Yeah, so at least maybe they sent her with some money. I don't know.
She might have just had money.
That's true.
These kids all had trust funds and shit.
Yeah, but I guess maybe she could be 18.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, and that Carrie was doing it for
Susan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so she gets Mr. Rooks to resign because Susan calls him.
Mm-hmm. And then we wrap things up with Logan.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
Oh, but we also find out Duncan has epilepsy.
Oh yeah. But I feel like it was so brief.
It is. So I put, oh, poor Duncan.
Poor Duncan.
That's all my notes on it.
And then Weevil drags in this kid because he's heard this rumor that this kid has this video of Logan's mom when she jumped.
Uh-huh.
And so Weevil brings the kid in, and the kid is a kid, and Weevil is what, 23, 40? I don't know.
Right.
And Veronica is what, 23, 40? I don't know. But this kid is like 15.
Yeah, and Logan also.
Yeah, and Logan. And so they show this video of his like action scene from the film he and his friends were making on the cliffs, which made me think, I was like, oh, I bet this was Brenton and his friends.
Absolutely, 100%. But they did better than us.
Filming they had a production crew, honey.
No, that's true.
And so then.
But yes.
We
didn't film any war movies, though.
In the background, they have Logan's mom jumping off the bridge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see a body hit water.
You can go off the bridge.
Or a large object.
Uh-huh. And so Veronica's like, this will get destroyed and no one will see it, right? And Weevil's like, don't worry. I'll make sure it does.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, what a chaotic good.
He really is.
He's a definition of chaotic good.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even for Logan?
Mm-hmm.
I guess they did build that bromance a little.
Exactly. And he's got honor. And he will do things for Veronica. Yeah. Yeah. He's not going to, like... He understands that, like, it's his mom. And she died. Like, that's awful.
It is.
He's not going to rub it in. Good guy, Weevil.
Exactly. And then that's basically it, right?
Yeah. So a couple things. Logan leaves the room, and then Veronica gets a text and like it runs out and it's like, hey, your mom's credit card just got charged.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, bum, bum, bum. And then she goes to see Abel Koontz, and it's like, hey, got nothing to ask you this time. All I know is I know your secret. You're dying, Abel. And it's like, and you're someone else's patsy while you die.
Yep.
Yeah. And then cut to black. Dun dun dun.
Which is such a big thing to drop at the end of that episode with like little to no.
That's like the stinger for next time of like, ooh, what?
Mm-hmm.
Is he covering for Jake Kane?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll find out next week on Rusky Business.
Ooh.
I didn't look at the summary, so I don't know where we're at on that. But
fine. I like the surprise.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I think those are all my thoughts.
Yeah, I think that's most of mine too. It's the one where Logan becomes like a real human.
Exactly. Well, kind of, yeah.
Not a good human, just a real one.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fun one.
Yeah.
And we get Leo, we get Adam Scott, we get that classic Sock It To Me.
All the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of good Keith and Veronica banter.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
I give this one a good score.
This is a win.
Mm-hmm. Well, plugs?
Plugs.
You can find me at butreallythough.com, where I have a blog. I have information about career and life coaching. I have an Instagram, But Really Though Coaching, and we have another podcast. It's called But Really Though, and though on all of these is spelled THO, like you're texting someone and every letter counts.
You're using T9, if you will.
Exactly. Well, I don't really know. T9 probably would have autocorrected to the THOU. You would have had to like
I guess that's true.
typed it out and saved it in. Regardless, you're still using that when you're using your keypad to text.
Chia.
And our podcast, but really though, is a conspiracy theory podcast. And yeah, anywhere else?
You can find this podcast on all podcast platforms. But you can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Mars Rewatch. Send us any questions, comments, concerns at marsrewatch@gmail.com. And you can also find stuff that I'm doing. I restarted a blog called theburgerdiscourse.wordpress.com, and also be putting out videos on YouTube, and that's at Burger Discourse. Doing baking videos for now, and we'll see what else happens. But yeah, I think that's it.